Hey, so a lot of people are always asking now me or asking a lot of people that I know, how do I use AI or how can we use AI? And I think that's a really good question, but I think it's kind of a wrong question or maybe not a fully vetted question that I think we should be asking ourselves. The the question I think we should be asking ourselves is how do we use AI without causing any problems for ourselves, our members, our clients, our staff, our organizations? How does that come into play for us? And that's what I kind of want to talk about today. I want to talk about some of the things we need to be looking at and why we need to be looking at how we start answering these questions, how we start using AI respectfully, professionally, proactively in our arena. And that's kind of where we're going to go today. So I'm going to tell you right now, AI basically already exists in real estate. We've seen it forever. We just didn't call it AI per se, or maybe some of these programs have gotten a little further forward into their world. You have tools like Zillow estimates that have been using this for a while. You're seeing a lot of CRMs doing some lead scoring that are in place. Also, you're seeing a lot more marketing platforms. You're seeing advertisement every day. They're starting to get way more specific, way more creative, right? You're seeing AI generated content. You're seeing targeted ads, even some optimization tools that are out there. And you are even starting to see some, not as much as I'd like to see, but you are actually starting to see some fraud detection in place, and that helps, right? I was just listening to Google I/O the other day, and they're actually trying to create certain vetting systems out there that hopefully industry organizations, industry standards would be accepted by them. the the risk really is in AI itself. It's using AI without understanding where it exists and what it's doing, and really where the pitfalls of all that sits inside of this. Um, why this matters and why this is more than a tech problem. This is really more of a trust problem. AI agents, agent errors, they're huge. There's a lot of miscellaneous information. We're going to talk about hallucinations a little bit down the road, but it's very large in those worlds. You're also going to see potential consumer harm, biases, things like that. Media is starting to pay a lot more attention to this. And really, I'm going to tell you, you're seeing a lot more on the screen about, uh, well, really leadership accountability, judicial uh, reviews on these conversations that are starting to become more of a pertinent conversation. So, as an example, we got just a couple quick examples in here. For instance, one, a company called Safe Rent recently had a lawsuit against them. Not going to go into the details about that too much down the road, but essentially it was based on their AI system that helps them and landlords evaluate rental applications. It's there was allegations that basically said that it unfairly impacted the housing choice voucher recipients. So I would recommend go reading that. But again, for me, it's not about what it is, what it was, what it wasn't. It's about where this came from and why it's potentially at risk, right? So that Safe Rent had potential risk because it was taking AI, human created AI, which has human biases built in or potential human biases built in that made this a little more challenging. So um, it learned patterns. It had learned patterns that had maybe unintended consequences for that. Zillow also had an example a while back. They had their own estimate. Well, they have their own estimates too, but they also had a system in place for hopefully buying and selling homes that lost some money because it wasn't fully vetted out at that point in time, in my opinion. And you have some things out there. AI isn't magic. AI is prediction, and predictions can be wrong. And they did that. Now, you will see what happens. They may come out with another situation, may come out with another opportunity that comes in place. But right now, that's where that sits. Now, a couple things that I think are interesting in here are what we commonly call AI hallucinations. And those AI hallucinations are really very simple. Um, it'll just kind of fabricate information. You'll see it invent legal cases, statistics. It'll put sources that never exist. That's why our job is always to vet the information that was created, the content that was out there, because it may be just completely wrong, and it may be pulling things that are not accurate for us in our world. So we want to see that in place. So just simply relying on that's a problem. You also are going to have confidential exposure. There are several companies out there that have had lawsuits against them because an employee put sensitive information inside a public tool that now had all that stuff becoming accessible. Cyber attacks aren't always just simply the bad guys getting in. Sometimes it's us giving away things we didn't mean to give away. And we want to be very careful about what happens with that. So, without a clear AI uses policy, you may be putting your organization and most definitely your clients at risk just by doing things you didn't realize that was out there. The other one that just makes me want to tell you just about real quickly that I think is interesting is the deepfake problem. I'm probably more at risk than most people, but it's really easy these days to clone a voice, clone a video, even impersonate someone. Like those movies that have a deep fake where someone digitally enhanced a video screen, put another person's face over the top of it. That's no longer just sci-fi. It's no longer just made for TV or made for movies. That's a real thing. Um, and what I will tell you is I have several examples, especially with families that have young adults in their life that they've had their identity cloned, so to speak, and people are falling for it. So it becomes a really big risk. I will also tell you, you are seeing this at the title where people are faking people, whether dead or alive, to purchase homes. And it's taking a lot because the video is getting so good. So that proof of life is becoming harder and harder to prove not real. So it becomes a challenge for those conversations. I've had several stories throughout time that really talks about the deep fake problem and where it exists in the world. And it becomes a major situation in place. And this isn't not just about ransomware, about attacks. This is really about huge technology advantages. Because again, as much as it's good for us good guys, the bad guys actually have it just as easy for them, and they have more time on their hands to get this done. And so what I'm going to tell you is AI is not a technology problem, although we got to learn the rules. I'm going to tell you it's a leadership problem or a leadership challenge. Don't like calling it a problem. It's a leadership challenge because technology always just amplify what's already exists around us. You've heard me talk about this many times. Weak policies, weak governance um, will just amplify whatever's out there. Poor training becomes costly. Bad policies become dangerous. The organizations that succeed with AI right now are the ones not with the newest tools. They're with the strongest leadership frameworks out there. And what we want to make sure we're doing in there is setting those policies up and setting up the what ifs and the policies and the framework for making good decisions and when, where, and how, not if, human interaction comes into play. You're going to hear more and more down the road. AI agents are going to be a major conversation. And I really, to be honest with you, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. But you're starting to see it really jump up this year. And almost everybody that you talk to or watch that are doing it right and doing it well are adding into their AI agents a human component into it. It's automating a lot of things, but if there's not some sort of human vetting, some sort of decision making process, it becomes a really potential challenge. So the 5 things we all should be doing right now is inventorying our AI tools. Make sure the ones we're using make sense for what we're doing in place. Also, we should be looking at our vendor agreements and making sure that they have the same policies or the same standards you do in place. Also, make sure you do actually have an AI policy. Those policies are nice, not only for you to make sure you are consistent to the same thing, but everybody that works for you or with you are doing the same stuff. Again, training. It's redundant. It's what I do. but training is huge, and keeping that on top of mind is really hard. It's really good idea. Cybersecurity, again, we do that all the time anymore, and people are testing for things. It's going to be the same thing with AI. We got to make sure we're doing stuff and make sure those policies are put in place. And then always assign those ownerships to who's doing what, when, and where. Every one of us have strengths and weaknesses, and they all will have strengths and weaknesses with inside the AI protocols. And that's what we need to really make sure that we are doing in place here. I want to leave you with this. Every change in technology has created winners and losers. Um, but the winners are rarely organizations with the newest technology. They are the ones that have the strongest leadership. They are the ones that look at the process before the tools. Looking at the tools first is always going to create a problem. And that's the same for AI. AI is going to be no different. There are going to be winners, going to be losers. The people that do it best are the ones that think about the pros and cons first before just jumping head in. Now, there are going to be people that do it well because they can do both at the same time. But for a lot of us, we need to take a step back and make sure we are protecting this. And that's going to be true for our brokers, our leaders, our executives. All those people in place have to make sure this is being done. AI is a great tool. It's a great asset. It's a huge solution, but every one of those have risks with it today. And make sure you are using this with inside your organization safely, productively, and quickly. Hope this helped. Hope you have something in place in your world. Let's talk if you don't. And we'll see you at the next video.